I watched my father kneel in the dust and thank a man who had just taken his name. My name used to be Aid. That was before the white men came. Now they call me Peter. I was young then, but not blind. Our village lived near a slow river. We fished. We farmed. We argued, laughed, and slept under the same sky every night. Life was hard, but it was ours. We knew the land, and the land knew us. The strangers did not come with guns at first. They came with smiles and books. They spoke softly. They said they came to help us. They said our ways were old, and old things must change. We listened. They built a small house with a cross on top. They sang songs we did not understand. They told us our gods were false. They said their God was the only true one. Some of us believed. Some of us were afraid. Most of us stayed quiet. They said our names were too hard to say. So they gave us new ones. My father became Samuel. I became Peter. They said it was a small thing, just a name, but a name is where a story lives. Then they came with paper. They said the land now belonged to the crown. They said the paper proved it. We laughed at first. How can paper own land? The land holds our dead. The land remembers us. They did not laugh. Soldiers came next. This time they carried guns. The sound was loud and sharp. Men fell like dry leaves. They said they were keeping peace. Peace meant silence. Our king was told to step down. They said men like him were not civilized. They said we needed a governor, a man from far away who did not know our seasons or our songs. My father went to speak for the village. He walked tall when he left. He came back bent. That night he did not eat. He did not speak. When my mother touched his hand, he pulled away. The next day, he told us we must obey. He said this was the new world. I wanted to ask him when our world ended. School became law. We were beaten for speaking our own tongue. The teacher said our language was savage. He said English was the language of light. I learned fast. Pain helps memory. At night, my grandmother still told stories by the fire. Stories of spirits, of clever animals, of brave women, and foolish kings. One night, soldiers came and burned her shrine. They said it was evil. She cried like a child. No one stopped them. Roads came after that. Straight roads that cut through farms and graves. They called it progress. We used those roads to carry crops we no longer owned to places we could not enter. Men were taken to work in mines and rail camps. Some never came back. Some returned thin and quiet, with eyes that had gone far away. Then they placed a tax on every hut. If you could not pay, you worked. If you refused, you were beaten. If you ran, you were hunted. My cousin ran. They brought him back tied with rope and made us watch. I still hear the sound when he fell. That night, I asked my father why we stayed. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said they had taken the ground from under our feet and taught us to fear falling. Years passed. I grew taller. My English grew better. They gave me work in an office. I wrote numbers and carried papers. I wore shoes. They said I was civilized. One day, I wrote an order that took land from another village. I did not know the people, but I knew the story. It was my story. I went home and could not wash the ink from my hands. When war came far away, they said we must fight for the empire. They said it was our duty. Some of us died for a king who did not know our names. When the white men finally left, they did not return what they took. They left borders drawn with rulers. They left leaders trained to rule like them. They left us arguing over broken pieces. They said we were free. Freedom felt strange, like wearing clothes that did not fit. Now I am old. Children sit at my feet and ask for stories. They want heroes and magic. Sometimes I give them those. Sometimes I tell them this one, how a man can lose his name, how a people can lose their voice, how chains can be made without iron. I do not tell them who to hate. I only tell them what I saw.